Welcome to Raleigh. Good spot. First of all, I'll tell you, super excited to get the Murkowski and the Collins endorsements, especially as we know Alaska and Maine are going to be voting. They are two strong, very courageous women who really do want to see what I want to see, which is getting our country to move in a great direction. I think that we had, on the heels of the Marquette poll last week where it showed we beat Biden by 18 points, I think there's another New York Times poll that shows us, I think Donald Trump squeaks by and we win by 10 points. If you look at the Hispanic numbers in that, it's off the charts, it's double digits. We continue to make ground. And if you saw, 1,000 plus of our friends here in Raleigh, I will tell you, this is not an anti-Trump movement. This is a pro-America movement where they are saying this is about the fact that somebody has to be talking about fiscal discipline, paying down the debt, making sure we get our economy back on track. Somebody has to talk about national security, which is peace through strength, and the fact that you don't go and retreat or put your head in the sand like Joe Biden and Donald Trump. You go out there and you strengthen your alliances so that our enemies are on their heels. And this has to be about the fact that the Republican Party continues to lose under Donald Trump, and we need to start winning again. Whether it was Michigan, whether it was Minnesota, whether it was Colorado, whether it was Virginia, whether it's all these states I've been to, they've all lost races since Donald Trump was president in 2016. At some point, we have to say, maybe it's Donald Trump that's the reason that we're losing, but more than that, maybe it's not about one person. Maybe we can start making this about an America where the American dream is real, where the younger generation has hope, where we can go and strongly disagree without hating each other and start to get results for the American people. That's the goal, and that's what we're trying to do. So I'll open it up for questions.
Governor Haley, thank you. You mentioned polling a little bit earlier and just a second ago. What do you think it says about the fact that a quasi-incumbent in Trump is getting that only 30 to 40%? What do you make of that, and do you think he should be higher?
I mean, this is a movement, and to have an incumbent like Donald Trump not getting 40% in the early states, to have an incumbent like Donald Trump where he's campaigned in Michigan for 8 years, I campaigned in 2 days and got 30%, there is a movement here. And if you see, this is not an angry crowd. This is a patriotic crowd. This is a crowd that wants an America their kids can be proud of. And whether it's 2,000 people in Virginia or 1,000 people here or whatever we're seeing, these are massive crowds. These aren't small numbers. And what we've received in these states are not small numbers. They can't be ignored, and they won't be ignored. They're going to continue to fight hard.
Mr. Haley, yeah, just going on the polling, you mentioned the New York Times poll on stage. In that same poll, it showed that you were losing to Trump nationally 70% to 22%. You talked about the 30 to 40% figure, as you mentioned. Is that a target for you as you're looking?
No, because nationally we don't ever vote in a primary. This is state by state, and so you can look at those polls. But what does it matter? It matters what's happening per state as we go forward. It matters that 70% of Americans don't want Donald Trump or Joe Biden. 60% of Americans say Donald Trump and Joe Biden are too old. But more than that, the majority of Americans think that we're better than this. Think we can do better than this, that we deserve to know what normal feels like, that our kids deserve to feel what normal feels like. And all we've seen from Trump and Congress is stagnation and nothing getting done. He grew government instead of reducing government. He grew our debt instead of reducing our debt. He continues to retreat from our allies and get weak in the knees with Putin. None of that is what America needs to be strong and to be vibrant and to make sure that we move in a good direction. And that's what all these Americans want to see, is they want to go forward. They don't want to keep looking back with drama and vendettas. And if you look again on the tweet that he gave last night, he said anybody that supported me and didn't help him in Washington, D.C. would not have access to him. Think about that. He had said prior, anybody that supported me would be barred permanently from MAGA. That's not how you win an election. This is about candidates wanting people to come into their fold, not threatening them, not pushing them out of their club. Is that what we want as a leader? The majority of these people will tell you no, they're done with that.
Governor, what happens after Tuesday? What happens after Tuesday?
We're running through the tape. That's what's happening. I mean, this is anywhere and everywhere. We leave here, we're headed to Boston, then we're headed to Vermont, then we're headed to Maine. We're going to keep going, and we're going to keep pushing.
Jordan,
question for you on foreign policy. We learned this morning that the United States partnered with Jordan to deliver aid to northern Gaza. I wondered what you make of the United States' role in this conflict, and if you agree with that effort.
I think that he's sending mixed messages. I think when Biden goes and says we're going to stand with our friend Israel, and now he's done nothing but backtrack, and now he's doing things on his own without standing with the partner that he's supposed to. is not helping the situation. What we need is for him to come together with Israel and find a way to get those hostages home. What we need is for him to come together with Israel and find a way to defeat Iran, who's doing terrorist activity to our soldiers in countries around the world. What we need is for him to stand strong instead of putting his head in the sand. And Joe Biden continues to not acknowledge the fact that Iran is the problem. He lifted the sanctions, which allowed billions of dollars in terrorist money to be spread around the world, and he has yet to strengthen the sanctions. That's what he should be doing, not going against Israel and doing things on his own.
President, many of the voters that I talked to here and last night said that if this election comes down to a choice between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, that they're going to sit it out. They don't plan to vote. What does it mean for the Republican Party if a potential swing state like North Carolina, people are staying?
I think that's the biggest concern. When I talk about what's happened in Michigan or Minnesota or Colorado or Virginia and all the races we've lost since, bless you, since Donald Trump's been president, or when we go and we look at the fact that all of these people are very passionate about the direction they want to go in America, they're not just going to go away. Donald Trump can say that we're unified. This crowd will tell you there's no unity with Donald Trump. All they hear are threats and the fact that he bars them from being a part of his club. They want to be a part of something positive. They want to be a part of something good. They want to feel good about their country again. And they don't feel good under Donald Trump. He refuses to believe it. Just because he says something doesn't make it true. He's got a real problem within the Republican Party. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Where will you be on Tuesday?